What's going on, everybody? Once again, you're tuned in to the Alphabets Football Talk Show. We take your mind off everything that's going on for a couple of hours, talk a little football. Uh, I get to talk and hang out with a few of my good friends. I got my lovely co-host in the house, the First Lady of Rise Up, Miss Ramona Die Hard Die. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you tonight? And are you staying out of trouble?
I am. I'm about to come over there. I see you over there with your green thumb growing all this stuff. You got greens and corn and peppers, and I see your salad and stuff. I see you over there. They say in the end, they say the people who want to eat, the only people who be able to eat in the end is people who's able to grow their own food. So I think you took that to heart. So I see you over there. We appreciate you, Ms. Dodd. And then I got my guest in the house. I got Buck Flair in the house.
Woo! What's happening, Marcus? How's it going tonight?
It's good, brother. It's good, man. I'm so happy to have you, man. You doing all right over there?
Yeah, I ain't growing no green stuff, so you ain't got to worry about me.
Well, I hope wherever you're at, I hope you ain't growing no green stuff. We have to be very specific with that. But yeah, we appreciate you, man. I thank you for joining us tonight, man. It's been a long time coming, man. I've been trying to get you up in here, man. I'm glad you're finally able to make it with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, as usual, we generally start off with the the news that's going on, the current events going on in the NFL related. Is there anything that sticks out in y'all's head? Have y'all heard anything that comes to mind with you guys?
Honestly, I haven't watched any TV today, any news, anything. So,
okay. Well, I know for a fact, it seems people are getting kind of lackadaisical with this COVID thing, guys. This ain't no joke. I know that there's some people that think this is a hoax, and as the year goes on, a lot, at the beginning of the year when it was first coming on, we kind of started off slow, and we had this outbreak, we had quarantines, we had government shutdown, and things like a couple of colleges, and we don't really talk about colleges, but I think it's pertinent to this situation. The Clemson, I know, got hit hard. I believe someone was saying 28 players from Clemson. I know over here in Texas, I know a few of the Longhorn players over in Austin, UT Austin, Texas Longhorns. A couple of pro teams, some Houston Texans players came up with COVID. A few Cowboys players. I don't know if there's any other. I know for a fact Ezekiel Elliott was one of them. And all I can say is I encourage people. I know that this is. I don't want to get into a political debate, but I know there's a lot of people out there that they don't believe in this stuff. Guys, this is real. People are dying. I encourage you to take precautions and do what you need to do.
Listen, Thomas. I'm probably gonna chop up his last name, Maselko.
Okay.
5 Phillies and 3 staff members just tested positive as well.
It's hitting people. This is real, people. This is real. I encourage everybody out there. There's an old saying: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Whatever your beliefs are, whether I hope you're taking care of yourself, socially distancing. Here in Austin, they're actually requiring masks whenever you go into buildings. So I hope that everybody's doing that and they're taking care of themselves. This is we talk sports here, we talk football, but in the college range, these are kids, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. And then even, like Ezekiel Elliott, he's 23 years old. You're talking young people, and just be safe. And I'll just leave it at that. You do what you do what you do. I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody is doing okay. So we're going to leave that alone. We're going to move on. Jamal Adams, he seems to be the man of the hour in the Rise Up chat group. We do a lot of chat in there. Shout out to my boy Yuri Barros. Yuri Barros, I got to apologize to you, man. He said, Marcus, man, I heard that he's talking about he wants to go to the Redskins, and I actually saw that today. And me and Yuri, I apologize on the air. I was wrong. I actually saw the article, so I wanted to give you a shout. I wanted to give you a shout out for that. he's listed a few teams, and all of them are pretty much like contenders. I saw the Cowboys, I saw the Eagles, I've seen the Buccaneers, I've seen the Ravens. Is there anybody else I'm missing? I'm trying to think of some of them. Some of them are just kind of look. It takes two to tango for a trade. Okay, here's what you got to understand. His deal, number one, he still has 2 years left on his contract. Okay, he still has 2 years left on his contract, and once you get in the habit of acquiescing the players' demands, I want a new contract. I want a new contract, dude. You still got 2 years left on your contract. He was a first round pick, and he's one of the best. One of the best. I don't think he's better. You think he's better than Minkah Fitzpatrick, Ramona? I think I know the answer to this. You think he's better than me? I know that's probably not the right. I know that's probably not the right question to ask you, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you see any sense? What do we see in this guy's game? What do you think, Ramona? What do you think? What do you see in this game? What do you see in this game?
Oh, I think he's great at his position, but I also think that he's already showing that wherever he goes, he may end up being in some trouble. And
Okay.
in the long run, I think that's going to hurt his bulletin, basically.
I've seen him play. He's incredible. Playmaker. What's your take on him, Buck? What do you think about the guy? I don't know if you follow him like that. What do you think about him?
I think he's going to stay with the Jets. I don't think I don't think they're going to be that stupid. But hell, that organization is really just here. They're just here. That Jets are going to do the Jets. But as far as the player goes, he's good. I wouldn't say he's great, but he's good as far as playmaker, a hard hitter. I would say he's up there in the top 10 at his position.
Top 10? That's this top 10. We top five, top 7, just top 10.
I'm sorry.
You got to think about it. He's played in New York. He played at Jets. You know what I mean? Like take Fitzpatrick. He was with the Dolphins. He goes to Pittsburgh and he's lights out. So if Jamal can get to Dallas, we'll see how he plays then.
I'll tell you, I would love to have him. I think he could. I think he could put our defense over the top. I like a lot of the defensive moves that we made this offseason.
Who would you give up for him, though? Who would you give up for Jamal Adams?
You're gonna, Ramona. Any deal that comes for Jamal Adams, it's gonna start with the Minkah Fitzpatrick deal. Like when people are like, "Oh, we should trade for this guy." Okay, that's fine. That's fine. A lot of deals are based off of what people have seen in prior deals. For instance, if you want a top-notch cornerback, it's going to be based off of the Jalen Ramsey deal. If you want an elite pass rusher, like somebody said, "Hey, I want TJ Watt." Pittsburgh, would you be willing to give up TJ Watt?
You get that look, right?
I'm just maybe that's not the best. Look, whatever for an elite pass rusher, people are going to look at the Khalil Mack trade from the Raiders.
Leave TJ alone.
I'm going to leave him alone. I shouldn't even say it. That I apologize. But when you talk about an elite pass rusher, it's going to be based off of the Khalil Mack trade. When you talk about an elite cornerback, it's going to be based off of the Jalen Ramsey trade. When you talk about an elite offensive lineman, you're going to be talking about the Laramie Tunsil trade. So when you want players like this, that's fine. And a lot of times, people say they'll never trade a player. If somebody said, "Look, we'll give you our first round pick for the next 5 years." People will change their mind. Jamal Adams, I think if you want him, you're going to have to give up a first round pick for him. And
I'm going to give you some stats. You asked me a question a minute ago if I thought he was better than Minkah. Last year, he had 55 tackles to Minka's 39. He had 12 assists to Minka's 22. He had 6.5 sacks. Oh, this is not complete. Because I know. Well, actually, Minkah didn't probably have any sacks last year. Passes defended, he had 7 to Minka's 9. Interceptions, he had 1 to Minka Fitzpatrick's 5. Fumbles recovered, 1. Minka Fitzpatrick, 3. Fumbles forced, 2. Both of them have 2 apiece. Touchdowns, both of them have 2 apiece. Games, Jamal played 14. Minka played 16. 847 snaps for Jamal, 871 for Minka. So I don't know. Who do you give it better to? I think he's got better stats than Jamal does.
Well, who you play with matters. Who's another playmaker on the Jets? Let's be real. I mean, when I tell people, I tell people all the time, look, who you play with matters.
Yes.
You know, and everybody's like, well, what would be the best situation for him? Where he would fit in anywhere. I mean, hell, he's making Jamal Adams. He's making plays with the Jets, and the Jets defense is terrible. Okay, yeah. If you take Jamal Adams and you put him on the Ravens, if you put him on the Browns, if you put him on the Cowboys, if you put him on the
Pittsburgh team,
if you put him on Pittsburgh, you say, hey, put Jamal Adams and Minka Fitzpatrick next to each other. I mean, I don't know if you could justify having two of the top paid safeties in the league, but you Pittsburgh.
Well, Minka's not getting paid that much.
Well, I'm saying, look, he's already said. Here's the other thing: not just the compensation as far as draft picks, because you're going to have to give up draft picks for him. But the other thing that people fail to understand is after you trade for him and you give up a first round pick or a first and a third or 2 1s. Then he said, I want to be the highest paid safety in the league. Highest paid safety in the league, you're talking about $17, $18 million. So that's the other thing you have to look up. That's the other thing you have to look at. So are you willing to do that for a guy who he's got 2 years left on his contract? He was a first round pick. You can put the fifth year option on him. So
I think they did that. I think they did. I did that. They picked up his 5th year option.
They already picked up his 5th year option. So you have him for 2 more years. But it was like the same instance with Ezekiel Elliott last year. It's like, dude, you still have 2 years left on your contract. I don't care. I want to get paid now. Because these players, look, being an NFL player is not something that you can do most of the time. And we're going to get into players that play for 20 years. Most players don't play for 20 years. I think the average career of an NFL player is like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. If you're able to get 2 or 3 contracts, you want to get paid. And then with all of this uncertainty with the economy now, hell, the salary cap might go down next year, especially if you're talking about half capacity stadiums. When you start talking about that, then the revenue's not the same. Generally, the salary cap goes up every year. There's no guarantee that the salary cap's going to go up next year with everything that's going on. So we'll be keeping an eye out for him. I would love to have the guy. I don't know if I want to go through again not having a first round pick. We gave up our first round pick 2 years ago to pick up Amari Cooper. And it's no fun when you're sitting in the first round and you don't have a first round pick. That is just no fun. The only time
it's fun, the only time that's fun is when you see people in your division who get that first round pick and they end up being a bust. Then you're like, God, I'm glad I made that trade last fall.
It's a risky proposition. We gave up our first round pick for Cooper. It worked out pretty good for us. You gave up a first round pick for Minka Fitzpatrick. It worked out pretty good. But what sucks is when you give up a first round pick for a player and he stinks, or your team stinks, and you got a top 5 pick, and you don't, and you gave it up to a team, and you don't have that pick. So,
right.
Hindsight's always 20. So we'll see how it goes. But I want to move along. Tonight we're going to be talking about the NFC South, the South. We're going to talk about the South. Falcons, Panthers, Bucks, Saints, and the first. I think we'll start off with the Falcons. I don't know. Let me ask y'all. This is just curious question. Who is a better receiver? Who would you rather have? If somebody said, "Look, You can have either one of these players. You can either have Julio Jones or Michael Thomas. Julio Jones or Michael Thomas. Okay. First off, do we agree that Julio Jones and Michael Thomas are the two best receivers in the NFC South? Are we missing anybody?
I think you may have some up and coming, but right now I think those two are the two proven guys.
I said Julio Jones and Mike Thomas. Is Mike Evans in that conversation? I'm not even going to say anything about the Panthers wide receivers. I don't think
we're going to have to see this year because you got an all-pro quarterback back there now. This is two things that I'd like to say. You got Matt Ryan and Julio have played together all their career. You got Michael Thomas in the league. He's played with Drew Brees all his career. You got Drew Brees, who's worked under Sean Payton since 2006. So the chemistry there between that offensive scheme that Payton runs, and it's going to be fun because, there was a big debate who was better, Julio or Michael Thomas. And right now, to me, it's still up in the air with Michael Thomas because I want to see what he does with another quarterback. I want to see what kind of quarterback is going to be there for the Saints next season, because the thing about Evans, he has had Glennon, he has had McCown, he's had Winston, he's had Fitzpatrick, and he's still on pace of 1,000 yards every year since he's been in the league. So he's got some stats to compete with those guys. But now he's got an All-Pro quarterback. We're going to see what he does this season.
Okay.
I'm going to pick Jones, and the reason why I'm picking Jones is because of who he plays for, the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan. I see more opportunities that the Drew Brees and Michael Thomas have had as opposed to what the Atlanta Falcons have had as far as help on those offenses. Okay. I think that the Saints offenses have been better over the years, but I think they also have had a lot more help as far as, the Alvin Kamara, on that offense helping out. And I don't think that the Atlanta Falcons have had all that offensive help. So I still think that what you look at the numbers every year with Jones is exactly what you're seeing is pure talent. And, he's making plays and doing things that has to be recognized as such because he doesn't have all the help on offense that the Saints have. So I have to go with Jones. I have to go with Jones. He's 31. There's about 4 or 5 year difference in age.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking within the next couple of years, depending on like Buck Claire, and that's one of our subjects. If we want, we can just go ahead and segue into that. Who's going to be the future starter of the New Orleans Saints? I mean, we can just segue right into that. Is it going to be Hill or is it going to be Jameis Winston?
Well, I wanted to stay with the Falcons, but before we move on to that, picking Michael Thomas or Julio Jones, it's really splitting hairs, man. It's really splitting hairs. It's, do you like meat lovers pizza or do you like pizza with, it's just it's a flavor thing. What do you like? You're not wrong either way. They both play with future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I think Matt Ryan will be. I think he's a future Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
I know Drew Brees. If he quit today, he would be a Hall of Famer. So I think Julio is more athletic. I think he's more of a freak of nature than Michael Thomas is. I think I would still give Julio the slight edge over. I would still give him the slight edge over over Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas just gets a lot of targets. He gets a lot of targets. And with this year, with them picking up Emmanuel Sanders, I don't know if he still gets that many targets. I think he still gets a lot. But Julio, I just hate the way they go away from him in the end zone. I mean, this guy is 6'4", and you're not looking for this guy in the red zone. I mean, I just don't get it. It's like when they get close to the end zone, they just forget about him. And as a guy who's had Julio Jones on one of my fantasy teams, it's maddening because this guy, I mean, it's like he'll have like 1,500 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's like, come on, man. Like, really? You can't get more touchdowns? So I'm hoping that they get him a little bit more involved. I like Ridley. I'm still going to go with Julio. I'm still going to go with Julio. So we'll see.
I got a question for you, Marcus.
Go ahead.
Is Calvin Johnson the Hall of Famer?
Oh man, we could do a whole show on that.
And
I have a term for players that are rare and unique, and we've never seen anything like them. Ramona, you know what that is, right?
Oh God.
Say it.
I didn't hear you.
Unicorn. Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Unicorn.
I don't think he's a unicorn. I think he was just a great receiver on a team that wasn't always great, and the greatness was very few and far between.
Ramona, we're not bakers here. We don't sugarcoat. Say it. Say it. Say what you want to say. I can feel it.
He was on a team that absolutely sucked, just like Barry Sanders was on the same team that absolutely sucked.
Ramona, you're the co-host on here. Say it. We don't sugarcoat nothing. We don't sugarcoat. Say he played for the Detroit Lions and they were terrible and he wasted his prime. Say it.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Like I said, and the same thing with Barry Sanders.
Exactly.
Well, the reason why I brought this up, Marcus, is I'm getting back to my analogy between Thomas and Julio, because Julio's played 9 seasons, Calvin's played 9 seasons. Julio has more catches, Julio has more yards than Calvin Johnson. The only thing is, like you say, he doesn't have the touchdown, as we say, because he's like 30 touchdowns short from Calvin. Now, Michael Thomas, I compare his stats to like guys like Marvin Harris. Marvin Harrison, all the catches he has in the season, but he had Peyton Manning. Now we're going to see the Michael Thomas with a different quarterback probably next year is what I'm predicting. And it'll be interesting to see. But right now, to me, Julio, the matchup that Julio's the best right now in the division. I would say right now, Michael Thomas with Drew Brees is second. I'd say Mike Evans is third. And there's another guy named Chris Godwin who's really getting ready to be on the scene, because Chris Godwin, we'll see how he does with Brady too as well. So,
okay.
I'm going to read a few of these comments.
Go ahead.
We have Ethan, of course, was taking not Minka Fitzpatrick. Just to put that out there. A lot of people are saying Michael Thomas. Thomas Maselko. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not.
I haven't seen him on here. Welcome to the show, Thomas Maselko. We appreciate you.
Kevin Fontenot. I'm not sure how to say that. Good one before Evans, he says. Dalton said Michael Thomas. Kevin said Michael Thomas. Deborah Beady is saying hello to Ronald Enix. Hello, Ronald Enix, by the way. We love you in this show, and we're still sending out prayers for a quick recovery. He's got to get better, because I'm getting ready to go to Buffalo, New York in August, and I'm going to pick him up before I come up there. So, Ron Thomas says that Falcons could go 10-6 this year. Ethan's like, tell him, Ramona and I. Let's see. Donovan says Julio.
Julio.
Let's see here. Wood and CJ said, I'll be right back for this one. I can defend Julio, but I don't know if he's got back yet. And he did say, yes, Calvin is. Kellen Kane Lane says, dime a dozen. Darvin Samuel said, unicorn. Dalton said, Megatron played for a trash team. He was part when Lions were 0-16.
That's true.
Wooden says Julio has the highest career yards per game average.
Okay. It is an opinion.
Ethan says, don't
Let's
sleep
just-
on Ridley.
Let's just call it a meat lever supreme. There you go.
It's you can't go wrong either way. You can't. You're not going to go wrong either way. So, moving on to another player we're still covering
one last comment.
Go ahead.
Dalton Smith said, I need to see more of Traquan Smith, but I know he's not number 2 wide receiver.
No, I think this year in New Orleans, I think that'll be Emmanuel Sanders. They picked him up from San Francisco. I think he'll fill in that role. So I just
fell off the couch.
Traquan Smith is another guy who I had on my fantasy team, and he had a couple of good games, and he just disappeared. So I hope that Emmanuel Sanders. I think he'll help them out a lot. But moving on, I want to talk about somebody. Todd Gurley, okay. Falcons went and they made a move for him. The whole Devontae Freeman thing, it kind of didn't work out. They lost Tevin Coleman in free agency. He went to the 49ers and had a lot of success over there. What are our thoughts on Todd Gurley? He at one time he was the highest paid running back in the league. And he was the gold standard for running backs. And Kellen Lane, if you say running backs are dime a dozen a game, we are gonna box, man. But
he's going to say that because he says it about every running back.
I know he's gonna say it, and every time he says it, I'm just gonna say Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But anyways, what do we think about Todd? What do we think about Todd Gurley?
Can he revert back to his old form?
He revert back to his old form. Like, he's 26 years old. I know a lot of people think he's like old. He's 25, 26 years old. He got drafted a year before Zeke. 2015. He's 5th year in the league. Got drafted. He was 20 years old. 25 going on 26 years old. Can this guy
in the league?
Go ahead, Ramona.
I just asked how long has he been in the league?
He got drafted in 2015. He was in the same draft with Melvin Gordon.
So he's been there 4 years, and in 4 years he's only missed 4 games.
Yes, this will be his 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. No, he's been in the league 5 years.
No, he's been in 4. This will be his 5th season.
This will be his 5th season. Yes.
He's missed 4 games in the 4 years.
Todd Gurley has?
Todd Gurley's only missed 4 games in 4 years.
Okay. But he has had, even in college, he's torn both his ACL.
No, just the one in 2014.
He's had some lower leg injuries, and
he's had some knee strains and lower leg injuries. Yeah, I agree. 2014, he tore his ACL, and when he got drafted, they sat him and worked him in. Do what? But
I think he's going into his 6th year. Is that right?
No, he was drafted in the NFL in 2015.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
2020.
He got drafted. Well, I'm saying you got to count the year that he got drafted. He got drafted in 2015. 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. He's going into his 6th year.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because Jameis Winston's going into his
Todd Gurley has played 5 seasons.
Yeah. He's going into his 6th season.
Yeah. So I mean, and look, let's not forget he
hasn't played 5 seasons. This will be his 5th season.
Ramona, he got drafted in 2015.
in May.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 5 years.
15,
This will be
2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Okay.
that's 5 years.
I
Yeah,
don't know what's wrong with me. I can't count.
yeah. This will be his 6th year. He's 25 years, going on 26 years old. He got drafted when he was
All right,
20
so
years old.
6 years and he's only missed 4 games. Again, he's only missed 4 games.
Okay, but obviously the Rams saw something the matter with him. Look, as a running back, and I played running back, my sons played running back, a lot of my family members have played running back. Once your knees your knees don't get better. Your knees don't get better. When you have to make explosive cut, twisting and turning and stopping on a dime, it doesn't get better. It doesn't, as I get older, my knees get better. No, when you have no cartilage left in your knees, when you've torn up your knees like that, and the way that he runs, he has a very physical style of running. So, but do you think that you think he reverts back to his old form, or you think we've seen the best of Todd Gurley, or what do you think?
Well, I got to look at the Falcons offense because they did something similar to this with Steven Jackson. You remember that? Steven Jackson came over to the Falcons, and Dirk Cutter was the offensive coordinator then. So okay. Dirk Cutter, since he's been fired from Tampa, he's there in Atlanta right now. So he runs a lot of, backs out of the backfield receiving yards because he had Jacquez Rogers back then. He had a hell of a receiving crew with Tony Gonzalez as his tight end. He had Rodney Jones. So it took a lot of pressure off the running backs. So his running backs usually carried the ball about 200 times, and they had about 1,000 yards on the season. But they also averaged about 40 to 50 catches a season. So he got a clean bill of health. I was waiting on this one because I saw he passed his physical. So he passed his physical, and that could be anything with that could be any doctor. That could just be the Falcons doctor saying, "Hey, you passed your physical. Now we got you," or whatever.
All right, I've got to read something real fast.
Okay, go ahead.
Read something real fast. Luke,
okay.
All right, Thomas Maselko said exactly what I was getting ready to say when I was going to give you my 2 cents on whether or not I think he can revert back. The Rams tried to buy a Super Bowl and it fell on them, and they could not pay him. So
what are we saying? So what are we saying, that he's still good and they just couldn't afford him?
And Luden says the same thing. I don't think he was happy, and it became a toxic relationship. That's what happens in LA. I think we have better backups to help rest Gurley in games. Gurley is not going to have to be the
featured back
workhorse.
Right.
He's not going to be
He's not going to have to carry the load.
Okay.
So to speak.
All right.
I think
so y'all are saying that he's not done. Is that what y'all are saying?
I don't think he's done because the Falcons have an offensive line that is just, they've got a great offensive line, whether you want to think about it or not. And I was going over some stats here. Dirk Cutter, as I mentioned, the offensive coordinator, now he used to be the Bucs. We used to have a top-rated offense too as well, but the Falcons last year were 5th. They had the 5th best offensive last year. Didn't
they just get rid of Devontae
Freeman?
They got rid of Devontae Freeman. He's still a free agent. No one's picked him up.
Nobody's picked him up. But also, Dirk has always, with Matt Ryan, he's always had one season he was 14th, but the other 2 seasons he was top 10. He was 8th in both of those years, whatever. So I look for them to really spread the ball out a lot because they picked up the tight end for Baltimore Ravens in the trade. They got Hayden Hurst there now. So now they've got their wide receivers, their tight end. I think the Falcons are making history because every guy on offense is a first-round draft pick.
I think you're so right. Oh, my God.
So I think they're going to heck of an offense, but as we get to the Falcons, it's all about defense. This is why Dan Quinn probably should have been fired last year.
Absolutely.
Because he was hired to be a defensive guru, and I had to go back as we talk about the NFC South. You look at his numbers as a defensive. He took over the defensive coordinator last year and the Falcons still ranked 20th. They've only ranked in the top 10 one time in his 5-year coaching career. He was actually 28th, 25th. I mean, that's the problem with the Falcons. And do you blame the offense for that? Because they score quickly, and you saw what they did in the Super Bowl. They run up the score, and they play Kyle Shanahan football.
All right, Mr. Andre.
We got the torch in the house. We got what's up, Dre? I'm sorry, man. I was looking at the slide and even see you up in here, man. You came in here like a ninja, man. Like Darkwing, like Darkwing Duck, man. I am the terror that flaps in the night, huh? Get in here, man. What do you think? What do you think about Todd Gurley, Torch? Talk to me.
What's goody? What's goody? Again, I'm just here to do my due diligence and support all the Rise Up platforms that's out here. Shout out to the diehard MVP, Mona Dye. Shout out to the Alpha. Shout out to my man Buck Flair. Woo! My man Buck Flair is in the building.
I'll give you some love.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, brother. As far as Todd Gurley is concerned, I know a lot of people have their thoughts on Todd Gurley because of his injury history. But I just want to share with you that when Todd Gurley is very healthy, Todd Gurley is very productive. 2017, Todd Gurley had 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns rushing to go along with 788 yards of receiving, 6 touchdowns. 2018, he had 17 touchdowns, 1,251 yards, 580 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. We talked about Aaron Jones being phenomenal. Well, this guy in 2018 had 21 touchdowns, just like Aaron Jones just had 20. And we respect Aaron Jones for that. 2019, the Rams ran a different kind of offensive scheme in which Todd Gurley didn't see the ball as much. He played 15 games, but didn't see the ball as much. He only had 223 carries on the season, but he almost had 1,000 yards with those carries, 12 touchdowns, and he still had 2 touchdown receptions as well. Todd Gurley is definitely proven. I want folks to stop fronting on Todd Gurley because of his injury. Even though we know that availability is the best ability, I think that Todd Gurley going to a new place in Atlanta, where he has weapons on the receiving end as far as Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, and at the tight end position they could give it up there as well. I think Todd Gurley will thrive, especially with a better quarterback. And yes, I said better quarterback because Matt Ryan is better than Jared Goff. And if you think he isn't, we could debate it all day, any day, whenever you want.
What about that line, Dre?
I think Atlanta's offensive line is little to be desired of, somewhat in certain. Yeah, that's a cute picture of Cam Newton, real cute. I think. Okay. I think
Cam's gonna be up there. I might as well dress for the occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Todd Gurley comes back and shows everybody who he really is this year.
Okay.
Oh, God,
sounds good. So we covered the Falcons. I want to jump on to the Panthers. Look, they've had.
Wait a minute. Before we, and I know you want to cover the Panthers. I know you do, but I am dying to jump to New Orleans. Please.
Okay, let's do New Orleans.
Let's go to New Orleans. Let's go to New Orleans. Come on.
All right, let's get to New Orleans. Let's do New Orleans. That's cool. I have no issue with that. So who's gonna be the future starter in New Orleans? Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston. In the words of Ron Thomas, he calls Jameis Winston crab legs. We're going crab legs versus Taysom Hill.
Oh, he's afraid of crab legs. He's afraid of crab legs going to the Saints and taking over the South. That's why. I'm telling you.
Look. We all know that Drew Brees can't play forever. Look, man, Father Time is undefeated. Eventually, we talked about it. A lot of these quarterbacks in the next 4 or 5 years, I don't even think that long. The next 2 or 3 years, some of the quarterbacks that we've seen that we've appreciated for the past 15, 20 years, the Ben Roethlisbergers, the Eli Mannings, the Phillip Rivers, the Drew Breeses, the Tom Brady's. Look, they're closer to the end than they are to the beginning. And I want to know, Teddy Bridgewater just left, took over the gig in Carolina, and they just brought in Jameis Winston. They still got Taysom Hill. Who's going to be a starter over there? Go ahead, Ramona.
Yes, I have to go first. Okay. All right. For one, I think they messed up. I think they should have kept Bridgewater because I think that he was well in tune with their offense. I think that he did really well when he filled in when Brees was out with surgery. But that's okay.
Just for the record, not to cut you off, they couldn't afford both of them. You're still paying Drew Brees. You're still paying Drew Brees, and it's like it comes to a point where you can't put, in a salary cap era, you cannot have. It's the same issue that with the Pittsburgh, the New England Patriots had with Tom Brady and Garoppolo. It gets to a point where, yes, it's great to have a really good backup, but most backups want to be starters. So you have to make a decision. It's like, do we stay with the guy that we have right now, a first ballot Hall of Famer? How much time does he have left? Or do we want to turn the page and go with the kid? So, I mean, I'm sure that they wanted him to stay, but it's like, you can stay here and make $5 million like you did last year, or you can go to Carolina and make $25 million.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna finish. All right. I like Taysom Hill. He's got great arm strength, but what I've seen of him play, his timing is way off. Anything past 10, 12, 15 yards down the field, his timing is horrible. Okay? Either the ball's getting there before the receiver is, or it's getting there way after the receiver has done past that mark. He needs to work on that. I don't know what he's going to end up being in the NFL. I really haven't paid that much attention, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm telling you right now, and you're hearing it right now, Jameis Winston is something special. And he is going to be something special. He is not afraid to throw the football. We've done seen this. Let me tell you why I think this. I watched a lot of Tampa Bay games last year, and I am absolutely shocked that nobody is talking about how his receivers are dropping passes, how they're letting them go off the fingertips, how they're running wrong routes. I mean, routes that didn't even look like should have been a route. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are these receivers doing? And I was really shocked concerning the fact that Bruce Arians is there. Okay? Because I'm a huge Bruce Arians fan. Have always been. Thought he was going to be our next head coach. I really did. But that being said, I honestly think Jameis Winston is going to be the future of the New Orleans Saints. That's just me. Okay, I'm done.
Sorry for me to interrupt, but Ramona, you need to be Jameis Winston's manager. I'm sorry, because that was terrible.
I'm gonna tell you something. Winston has proven he's proven with his arm strength. He's a chance taker. He reminds me of.
Yes, we know he's a chance taker.
He reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger. I'm telling you, the man reminds me of Big Ben.
Ramona, I'm not going to let you sit on here on FCC Airways and disrespect Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, I love Ben Roethlisberger, and you know how much I love Big Ben. But I am telling you, he reminds me of the later years of Ben Roethlisberger, who wasn't afraid to throw the ball down the field to an Antonio Brown when Antonio Brown was a rookie on the team. Okay? That's what I see in Winston.
Has Ben Roethlisberger ever had 30 interceptions in a season? I'm just curious. Has he ever had 30?
He led the league in interceptions in 2018.
Okay, and that's fine. Did he throw 30 interceptions?
No, I don't think it was 30.
Do you know how 30 interceptions? Look, there's 16 games in a season, all right? And he had 30 interceptions. That's damn near 2 interceptions a game.
Just said, Winston has to find the right system to be fit into, just like Nick Foles.
Well, hold on. Don't you put Lil Kim in this? Don't you put Lil Kim in this? Don't you be putting Lil Kim in this? Only thing I'm gonna say is this right here. That people,
I don't know who Thomas is, but he's my buddy now. I can tell you.
5,001. Jameis Winston, 5,109 yards. He threw for 5,000 yards, 5,100 yards, 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. I mean, you almost. That's terrible. Like now,
You
look.
have to go back and look at the interceptions he threw. Oh, I'm gonna tell you, probably half of those interceptions were not his fault.
Okay. All right. Ramona, like, shout out to Dennis Holmes, the ignorant thinker. He does a lot of ignorant thinkers. You, Ramona, if this whole podcast thing doesn't work out for you, you need to be a sports agent because you will be getting people a lot of money. I think you can talk if you can go in there and you can convince a GM or an owner that Jameis Winston is a first off. I guess I just don't see it. Look, even when he was at Florida State, he was a turnover machine, and a lot of bad habits that you bring that you have in college. What a lot of players do is they bring it to the pros, and he's a turnover machine. He's a turnover machine. Everybody talks so much about how bad Tampa Bay defense was. Look, when your quarterback is turning it over twice, throwing 2 interceptions a game, I don't care how good your defense is. I don't care if you're the 85 Bears. I don't care if you're the 2000 Ravens. I don't care if you're the 2002 Buccaneers. I don't care if you're the Steel Curtain defense, Doomsday, Purple People Eaters, the Orange Crush. If your quarterback keeps turning over the ball, you're putting your defense is eventually going to break Blake Bortles. When you have
I agree with you 100% on that, on every word that you just spoke. But you have to admit, it's not always the receiver or the quarterback's fault that a receiver tips the ball into the defense.
That's true. I mean,
you didn't watch the games like I did last year.
Oh, well, I'm a Buck. You're a Bucks fan. What is your assessment? You watch every snap, I'm sure. What is your assessment? And I'm going to ask you, what is your assessment of Jameis Winston? And with this competition between when Drew Brees finally hangs it up, who's going to be the man over there? What is your thoughts? And Miss Di over here, she's saying that it was a lot of the receivers. What do you think? You're the Bucks guy. Talk to me.
I think right now we just heard Winston going to the Steelers after Big Ben retired. That's what I think of all that garbage that was just talked about. I mean, you talk about a guy that, as a Buck fan and like really up there with the fans, I had to back off because you know what? I left it in Bruce Arians' hands. I mean, Jameis Winston broke up the fan base because we got a lot of Florida State Seminole fans, and they kept saying, he's my quarterback, he's my quarterback, he's my quarterback. You got Bruce Arians, he's a quarterback guru. Bruce gave him an offensive plan, and I don't care what you say. The man has, if you look what he did last year, the 30 for 30 is funny because I always think about Vinny Testaverde. I think about Vinny when he threw about 36 picks that season, and we still paid him for 6 years. We stuck by Vinny Testaverde for 6 years in Tampa, and I was just so happy that 121 touchdowns, 88 interceptions. He's lost the ball, 23 fumbles. That's another thing. So basically, and he can't beat teams in his division. That's what I like to say. He's like 11-18 or something like that in the division. And you see these guys all the time. So you could talk about tip passes. You could talk about anything. You can talk about some bad reads. I think in that Texans game there towards the end, I think that was his I think that was his final straw. I think he threw like 4 picks, but thank goodness the defense still kept him in the ball game because they were there. And you're right, Marcus. Everything you say, people don't think about the Bucs defense. They moved all the way up until 15th place with that bad offense at the turnover machine. They were like the 15th ranked best defense, and now the focus this year was to go back and keep all your defensive guys in Todd Bowles' system. So now you've got a Tom Brady there who's like through like one season 14 is the most interceptions I think he's thrown in a year. So now you got a guy who's going to protect the ball, and the future's bright. But as far as New Orleans go, I think Winston is in a dark place right now. He's a guy that he basically he went there and signed a 1-year deal for $1 million. I mean, he really, but he's got incentive to make about $3 million. Okay, so Drew Brees. I talked about this last week some about his comments. I think you got a lot of I don't care if they say they're over it, they apologize. There's a lot of drama going on in the Saints organization, I think, right now. A lot of people thought Drew Brees might actually come out and retire. They did. But he's there. I think the Saints, if they have a bad season, I think there's a good chance that both those guys might not be there. Both of them. They might go a different route. You know, they might go a different route because I can't see Winston unless he gets an opportunity like Bridgewater. But like I said, I mean, I always thought Winston would work good in Pittsburgh because Ramona loves him now.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna send you, and if he goes to Pittsburgh, I'll send you my jerseys and stuff like that because I'm not the kind of guy that burns them. You know what? I mean,
I have a question for you, Buck. All right, Ricky just made a statement in text. Ricky Willem says, "I'm sorry, Buck, but if Ronald Jones was good, the pressure would have been off of Jameis if they had any kind of a running game."
Well, now we're going back to Bruce Arians' system right there. They had Peyton Barber, who almost had 1,000 yards the year before that. So I just think it's whether he had a running game or not. The Bucs running game has been horrible. That's true. It's been horrible over those 5 years. I mean,
and he's going to the horrible. Alvin Kamara, come on.
But you know, he won a national championship. He had high hopes. He won a national championship with Kelvin Benjamin, who was you saw what he did in the NFL. I mean, but you also had guys like, you know, Devontae Freeman. You know, that was his running back then. So
who is not even signed right now.
Hey, Torch, get in here. What do you think about the whole Jameis Winston?
You're on mute, darling.
You're on mute, Dre. Torch, you there?
I'm here. I hear y'all talking. Hold on, you gotta down that. Yeah, I hear you. Listen, first and foremost, anybody who thinks Taysom Hill is starting over Jameis Winston is crazy. Absolutely nuts. First and foremost.
Call me crazy, then. Call me crazy.
Taysom Hill is not starting over no Jameis Winston, man. Listen, in Tampa Bay, he was the gunslinger. Buck Flair could tell you they had no running game. He was the gunslinger. You get him in an organization where he don't have to be the gunslinger and he don't have to push the ball down the field every single drive. You may not see a 30 for 30.
He has receivers taking the ball and they tipping it off to the defense.
Yes. Jameis Winston can be coached, man. He did 5,000 yards throwing 30 interceptions. Just imagine if he was to cut down those interceptions, what he could do without, you know what I mean? Without that. People always look at the negative side, but don't want to look at the uprise. Don't want to look at the potential.
I take the good with the bad. And like I always say, I'll use my old firefighter analogy. You do not get credit for putting out fires that you ignited. And he ignited a lot of fires.
Agree.
So moving on, we're running a little bit behind time here. I want to jump over to the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey. He outstanding season last year. And I was surprised, when we think about some of the best backs in the game, we talk about the Zeeks, we talk about the Barkleys, we talk about the Derrick Henrys, the Todd Gurley's back in the day, a couple of years ago. I mean, look, that's how quick Todd Gurley. I mean, I play a lot of fantasy football, and let me tell you what. About 2 or 3 years ago, Todd Gurley was the first running back coming off the board. So, is Christian McCaffrey? Is he the best running back in the game? CMC, run CMC. I'm gonna let you go first on this one here, Dre.
Okay, so we've had this conversation before in past, and I want to let everybody know that originally my first thought was that CMC is not the best back in the league. That CMC is a product of his environment, seeing that he really didn't have too much on offense, so he is the offense. I know that there's an argument that can be said. Well, teams know that he is the main focal point of offenses and still can't stop him. So when I put that on my Libra scale and I let it weigh and I put the weights on both sides, I'm going to leap out in a different perspective and say that he is.
Oh, wow.
Christian McCaffrey is the best. He's the best running back in the game.
Yes, I'm going to leap out there and I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Shannon Sharp, he was it's a show that I love to watch, Undisputed. Shannon Sharp said he's the best running back. This is Shannon Sharp. Now, I think Shannon Sharp's a little bit I think he's a little biased. He did play with his dad, Ed McCaffrey, with the Broncos. Ramona.
Yes.
CMC, best running back in the game?
Absolutely. Oh, shout out to Devon Stanfield, who swears that he will be drug tested and found to have, what is it? Steroid something. It wasn't steroid, but it was something else that he mentioned the other night on one of the other shows. And
He
so
said it was.
Devon Stanfield.
He said it was PEDs, Ramona, PEDs.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, I want to tell you something. The guy had it. Last year he had a total of 403 touches on the football. So yes, he was primarily the offense. I agree, absolutely. But you know what? It wasn't easy to stop him. They weren't stopping him. He was the reason why they scored. 2,392 yards from scrimmage. 19 touchdowns. He's the third player in history to have 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards catching. Passes to it. Okay? The third in history to do that. He's the best receiving running back in the league. He had 24 more catches than any other running back catching the ball out of the backfield. 24 more catches. He is the only back that ranked, I think it was like in the top 10 in yards per carry and top 5 in yards per reception. Okay? So to say that this man right now is not the best running back in the NFL is absolutely bogus. And I like a Zeke. Okay? I like Zeke. There's a lot of running backs out there that I would love to have. Derrick Henry. Love to have him on my team. But I'm telling you.
You and 31 other teams.
CMC, as far as I can tell, going back and looking like injuries and stuff like that, hasn't had a whole lot of injuries either. This guy is the real deal.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think he's fantastic.
Talk to me. CMC the best running back in the league?
Tough on this one, man. I mean, I've seen I've seen him been shut down, and I still think when we talk about is he the best running back in the league or is he the best overall back in the league? I think coming out of the backfield and catching passes and what he does makes him the best overall running back in the league. Zeke right now is still my top dog just because of the fact that he runs the ball. He's got 5,000 something yards after his seasons that he's been in the league. He's been in there one more year than McCaffrey in 2016. He's also got almost 200 catches too. So I mean,
yeah, a lot of
people don't think about Zeke coming out of the backfield too as well. So and when he starts running straight up, now it really boils down to Derrick Henry. All my kids, all the guys I coach and talk with, everybody fell in love with Derrick Henry last year. They got and it comes down to the offensive line. I think Derrick Henry, if can he repeat what he did? And I'm gonna give you a stat, Marcus. This is what got me.
Okay.
People think about these running backs' career. He's a little bit older. I think he's 26 or 27 now. He's been franchise tag. He's making $12.5 million, and this is kind of a go-to season for him. But I went back and looked at his history from his high school days to his time in Alabama to the time he's been in the NFL right now. This guy has carried the ball 2,900 times. 2,900 times, and he's rushed for over 20,000 yards since his freshman year in high school. 20,000 yards. So the wear and tear on Derrick Henry is going to be coming to an end here pretty soon because we all seen it with Earl Campbell. We seen the shutdown with him. But to me, I'm just going to say,
Earl Campbell,
I think
Eddie George.
Yeah, I think to me, Zeke is the best running back in the league. I think Christian McCaffrey is the best overall running back in the league because Derrick Henry could overtake Zeke this season, depending on what kind of season that he has. Because you got to remember that the Titans' offensive line is pretty damn good, and the Cowboys has gotten a little bit older now. Now we're going to see about how Zeke does behind that O line, and now they've got 3 wide receivers now. Is he going to be able? Is that going to open up Zeke even more because they're going to be focused on the wide receivers now? And
how can you compare Zeke and him when Zeke does? And regardless of having the 3 wide receivers now, they still have receivers for Dallas. So how can you?
They got a quarterback.
What? No, my point is this. My point is this. Derrick Henry had to be the offense. Zeke doesn't have to be the offense. He's got a quarterback and throw the football to the receivers.
And Christian McCaffrey had to be the offense of Carolina. That's all. And like I said, what's going to happen to Christian McCaffrey if they keep burning this guy out? If they keep giving him all these touches, and the guy might be right. He might be right. Because I tell you what, he is bulked up ever since he's been in the NFL. McCaffrey has, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that one because you never know. But I know his dad's an ex-NFL player, and I know there was some talk about him having to stay healthy in the league too as well. So
yeah.
Right, and I get what you're saying. I get tired of hearing these comparisons. How can you compare a running back on one team who has no other offense, who is the primary offense, with a team that's got an offense that backs them up? How can you compare them? There's no way to compare these guys.
It's tough. It does matter who you play with. I say this all the time. Who you play with definitely matters. We saw, as an example, Ramona, we saw what Le'Veon Bell looked like with the Steelers.
Yep.
When y'all
No, you won't get me talking high shit about Le'Veon Bell with the Steelers because he was hit and miss year after year after year with Pittsburgh. So don't go there with me. You've never heard me brag about Bell.
No, that's who Christian McCaffrey gets compared to, Le'Veon Bell.
No, what I'm saying is Le'Veon Bell was considered one of the best, and he's still considered one of the better backs in the league. And he is a awesome running back.
When he shows up.
when you play with Pittsburgh with Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster and all the weapons that and a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, and then you go from that to Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson. So
Right.
who you play with definitely matters. So Christian McCaffrey, for me personally, I don't think he's the best running back in the league. I think he's just asked to do a lot on a team that has nothing. And sometimes that makes you look at, and no, I don't want to take anything away from him. He's an incredible running back. But if somebody says you can have Christian McCaffrey or Zeke or Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry, I like Derrick Henry. Buck, I'm with you. Look, running backs only have so many carries. They just do. They hit a wall. And when you run like Derrick Henry, when you run the way that he runs, and he runs very upright, and he's very tall. I think he's 6'4". Who's going to tackle Derrick Henry up high? I think as he starts to slow down, you're going to see people going at his knees, trying to chop him up at the knees. I think Zeke.
Well, I mean, I was kind of spoiled with the bus.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you know.
Well, I mean, when you have those, when you get those carries, and back to what you said, Buck, a lot of these guys, that I really think that they need to get another pay scale for running backs, because what happens with a lot of these running backs is they get ran into the ground in college, they get ran into the ground in high school, they get ran into the ground in college, and then they get to the pros and they have 3 or 4 good years, and then they fade away because.
But you know what? You know what? I think they say it all the time. Running backs are a dime a dozen.
I was getting ready to say you're going to have Kellen saying running backs are a dime a dozen. Oh, Bud, why'd you start that for?
So yeah, so I like Christian McCaffrey. I think he's definitely top 5. But if I have my druthers, give me either. It's tough because I take for me, durability is a big thing. Durability is the best ability is availability. If you're always hurt, there was a running back a few years ago, and every time I say it, Dennis just kind of huffs and puffs. Arian Foster.
Keep talking that. Keep talking. He's always hurt. But when has CMC been hurt yet?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And that's why it's hard
to happen.
No, you're making my point for me, Ronan. And that's why it's hard to, as talented as Saquon Barkley is, it's hard. Look, Zeke hasn't missed a game. Zeke hasn't missed a game due to injury. Okay? Zeke hasn't missed a game due to injury. But Saquon Barkley he has. So it's hard to put Saquon Barkley over CMC. But I believe that Saquon Barkley is a more talented running back, but we have yet to see it, So we'll see. Once again, that's another one you can't really go wrong. And so we'll see what happens with that.
Wait, hold on. If I was to categorize the guys, I would say that Ezekiel Elliott was more of an Emmitt Smith guy. I would say that Saquon was more of Barry Sanders. I would say that, Derrick Henry is more of an Earl Thomas. And I would say that Christian McCaffrey is more. I mean, Earl Campbell also. And I would say that Christian McCaffrey is more of a Marshall Faulk.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you just.
Wow.
I agree with everything you just said. I agree with everything. To me, running back. The biggest thing with running back is durability, and that's very. Look, I like James Conner. Just jumping off real quick, I like James Conner. He's a hell of a back when he's healthy, but he's always hurt. So we'll see what happens. All of these guys will always be tied together. So I wanted to move along to we're still dealing with the Carolina Panthers. Thank you everybody for liking and sharing the show. Thanks for everybody tuning in. You all are watching the Alphabet Football Talk Show with myself, Marcus the Alphabets, and the lovely Ramona Die Hard. I got Buck Flair in the house. I got the Ignorant Thinker. I got the Torch Robinson. Thank you all for tuning in. Is Teddy Bridgewater a franchise quarterback? We saw the way he started off with the Vikings. He had a very promising career coming from Louisville, I believe. The Vikings thought he was going to be their guy, suffered a devastating knee injury. Some people thought that he was going to have to get his leg amputated. I mean, that's just how serious that injury was. He kind of bounced around, got an opportunity with the Saints, and kind of sat behind Drew
Bounced
Brees.
around.
Well, he not bounced around per se. He just look his future was up in the air. I mean, there were some people that thought that he would never walk again, let alone play football. So he's made, it's an awesome story. He seems to be somewhat healthy. Showed some flashes last year in New Orleans. Panthers got rid of longtime quarterback Cam Newton, who still is unsigned. And they signed Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater, can he be the answer over there for Matt Rule, new coach coming over there? You think, Ramon? I want to start with you. What do you think about Teddy B? Teddy Two Gloves.
I think he's a game manager, and that's it. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback.
Okay.
I think he's a game manager at best.
Alex Smith.
Just my
Alex Smith 2.0.
I actually think he may even be a little bit better.
You think he's better than Alex Smith? But you don't think he's the kind of guy that can carry that franchise?
I don't think he'll last long in the NFL.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Buck, what do you think?
I think he's not going to be a Steeler. I can tell you that.
Nope.
I can tell you that. He's not going to be a Steeler after that.
I'd have to go to Pennsylvania with somebody's butt.
I think Teddy. I mean, golly, he's been in the league now. I think 6 years. I looked at the stats. I mean, he's only thrown for 7,000 yards in 6 years. He's been injured a lot. 38 touchdowns. The good thing for Teddy is that he has McCaffrey, for one, and he has LSU, who led Joe Burrow in college to throw all those touchdown passes. He has him as his offensive coordinator. So that's the good news for him. I'll be interested to see how the Panthers drafted all those defensive guys. They didn't draft any offensive guys. They're going to revamp their entire defense in Carolina. So I'm going to be interested to see how good the Panthers defense is, because if it's not that good, then you can see Teddy taking a lot of hits back there in the backfield. So I think the big key for him will be how good that Panthers defense can get, because if he's got to stay on the field, there's a good chance Ramona called him a game manager. He is a game manager, but if he panics, if he has any kind of pressure, it's not the Saints. They're not the Saints. I mean, last year he had the luxury of playing with the Saints, and he stepped right in and did a great job, and he got him a 3-year Nick Foles contract. He got him a 3-year, $61 million contract. We've seen this happen many times over the past with these guys in the NFL. They have a great season. Next thing you know, Scott Mitchell, another great example. Let's just pay him all this money because he had a great season filling in. I mean, so I don't think personally he's a franchise quarterback just because of the fact he's a game manager, as she just said. And I don't think he's got the – I just don't think he's got the – he's not – I just don't know if he's got the winning mentality.
He's not going to accept a backup role either. He's not going to sit on the bench and be a backup quarterback for anybody, I don't think.
Well,
that's why I don't think he'll last long.
They don't have anybody over there for him to sit behind, to be perfectly honest.
I feel like I'm about to have a Vicky Guerrero moment, and this ain't WWE. I'm a man. I'm not a woman, and I feel like I'm about to have that moment. Yo, Teddy Bridgewater has the intangibles. Definitely. He's a smart player. Quiet as kept. Case Keenum and them don't even happen if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't get injured in Minnesota. I think he would have been a great quarterback in Minnesota. Yeah, he's a game manager, but at the same token, he plays to his strengths. Teddy Bridgewater, to me, I mean, you didn't see what he just did with the Saints when he was called to order. The man just went undefeated. I mean,
he managed the talent they have on that team.
That's great. Guess what? And that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to manage. He's not supposed to come outside of his meeting.
But did he win because, despite of that's my point. He didn't win those games. He won games despite.
Now after Dre makes that comment, now he might end up in Green Bay. You know, he could have been up in Green Bay now after that comment. Here, Dre,
didn't they just draft Jordan?
I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna send you this Carolina Panther board game for you. Alpha Animals. There you go, Dre. There you go. That's what I think about. That's what I think about the Panthers. You know me and my props. So,
Yeah, I know about you and your props. Definitely, that was a good one too. I think he has the intangibles of being a winner. I mean, is he a franchise quarterback? Maybe not, but I think he has the intangibles, and he's a winning quarterback.
Oh, okay. Let's make it a little bit easier. What place do the Panthers finish in the NFC South?
They dwelling in the cellar.
last.
They're last.
Okay,
Last.
so are we having it both ways? Look, Teddy Bridgewater, he's a good quarterback. He can be the franchise quarterback. They're going to finish in last place in the NFC South. Like, are we? How does that work?
Listen, Marcus. There's a very good chance that Carolina could win 7 to 8 games and still be in last place.
Okay, and there's a very good chance that they can go 3-13 because that's
very great chance. Yeah,
there's a very good chance. Look, they're not better than the Saints. They're not better than the Buccaneers. They're not better than the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, there's only 4 teams in the division. You're not better than the other 3. That puts you in last place.
Jury may be out on the Falcons. Let me get that out the way. We don't know when Matt Ryan is showing up. That's what I'm going to say on that one. I'm just going to keep it like that. We don't know.
Matt Ryan shows up every year. Matt Ryan does well every year.
Hold on, Ramona. Not even to mention that the Atlanta Falcons went 6-2 last year in the second part of the season.
Yeah, they started off 1-7 though.
Yeah,
and they beat the Eagles.
But they went 6-2. It's not how you start; it's how you finish.
But they ain't finished to do nothing. So
I want to read some of these comments real quick.
Let me just say this. Let me say this before you start.
Whoa! What?
All I want to say was this: when it came to the Saints, and everybody was wondering because Teddy Bridgewater did go 6-0, and it was wondering should they keep Teddy in or should they just bring Drew Brees back. I'm a firm believer that if Teddy Bridgewater would have started that playoff game, they would have won. That's what I'm going to say to that.
Wow. Okay.
And this is what, and this is right here. That's that ignorant thinking right there. I expect no less. He will definitely go against the grain without a doubt. Ramona, give me those nice comments, please.
Thomas Maselko says, perfect example. Look what happened to DeMarco Murray after he left the Cowboys. And I think it's when we were talking about the running back.
Talking about Derrick Henry.
Right. Yeah. Ricky said Saquon won the Roy, but you haven't seen it yet. I'm confused on that.
Rookie of the year.
Well, no, I knew what Roy meant. I didn't understand, but you haven't seen it yet. I don't. Donovan Samuel says Dennis Holmes finally didn't ignorant think in that statement. Ricky Williams says yes, Teddy was a franchise quarterback with the Vikings. Chuck Thomas is LOLing. Dalton Smith says, can Bridgewater play all 16 games with the Panthers? Frederick Wilson just came in. Hey, Frederick, good to see you. Ricky says, is Panthers tanking for Lawrence?
Trevor.
Yo, you know what's so sorry. You know what's so funny? You know what's so funny real quick while you read the questions? I mean, certain teams in the NFC, had they been in other divisions, wouldn't even have been in the playoffs. I mean, I know a couple teams who didn't even want to win the division until end of the season, but we want to rag on the Falcons. Really?
Thomas said that he played in a good system with the Saints and a good coach. And I commented on that, and I said that got him great field position. That defense gave him great field position with the Saints in those 6 games as well. And then I said, or Donovan says, all of these NFC South teams losing to Las Vegas Raiders, book it. Dalton Smith said Bridgewater wasn't the only reason why Saints were 5-0. The defense was also the reason why Saints won with Bridgewater while Bridgewater was playing. Hey, Kevin Alley, good to see you. Homeboy from my hometown. Chuck Thomas, Winston and Steelers quarterback in the future. Thanks for that info, Ramona. I really do like him, Chuck, but I don't figure he's coming to Pittsburgh.
Okay. Well, we're running a little bit low on time, and I wanted to cover the last team in the NFC South. We covered the other three. I want to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Had a
Do we
look.
have to?
I thought
No.
that I thought that they were. I thought that they were. You know, the receivers did outstanding. He had two really good receivers. I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and I think they hit. Didn't you all have Rashad Perriman too? I think he was
Yep.
the third guy, but he
He was
left.
over, he was over
Yeah, but
1,000.
he's gone now. But Chris Godwin, 1,333 yards, 9 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 1,157 yards, 8 touchdowns. I mean, despite the bad play of Jameis Winston, I don't care that he threw for 5,000 yards. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there. I don't care that he threw for 5,000 yards. You threw 30 interceptions. So, but I do believe that they still have one of the best wide receiver core in the league. 1-2 punch. You look at their tight ends, getting Gronk to come out of retirement, to go play with his buddy. They still got O.J. Howard. They still got Cameron Brate. But I just want to know, and I want to start with you, Buck, because these are your guys. Is Tom Brady the missing piece over there? Is he the guy who can get you guys over the hump? Y'all haven't been to the Super Bowl since 2002, 18 years with those with the John Gruden teams. Can Tom Brady? You got anything left to get y'all over the hump? Talk to me.
He better be. I mean, that's that. He better be. The only thing that I would say, a lot of Bucks fans have already kind of turned into Cleveland Browns fans, already crowned him the champion and stuff like that, like last year. So I haven't crowned them champions yet because you can tell by my jersey up there. I've got my 12 Buck Flair jersey because I still refuse to put Brady on a Buccaneers jersey yet. But if he wins that Super Bowl, I told all the fans that I will get a Brady Buccaneer if he wins that Super Bowl. So I hope he goes out. I hope he goes out a winner. I just think with Gronk coming out of retirement, I mean, people are really down on Gronk for some reason. You know what? He's got to get in football shape for one. He's been wrestling for, you know what I mean? So he just lost his belt the other day. He lost his 24/7 belt. So they got some great stories going on down there right now. The running backs, I think Marcus and I talked about this. Who was going to be the starting running back? Big problem. You know, Ronald Jones, Keyshawn Vaughn. We've got another big back there. I can't even pronounce his name. I just know it when he runs it. He's just like a little cannonball back there. Wide receiver core, we've got plenty of guys. Scotty Miller, we got Justin Watson. We got plenty of guys that got hurt and that stepped in and got a lot of playing time last year because, like you said, Winston passed for 5,000 yards. He was just finding anybody he could to throw the ball. So now you got Brady, and it comes down to not turning over the ball. That's what the main thing is. And then I look at the history of guys like Brett Favre. I look at Joe Montana. I look at Peyton Manning. You're talking about legends. Brett Favre goes to the Jets, winning season, beats everybody in the division pretty much, has a winning record in that division. Goes to the Vikings, beats his Packers, has a winning division. I don't think he lost to anybody when he went to Minnesota to be a quarterback. Joe Montana goes to Kansas City, takes him to the AFC Championship game his first year, and then he still takes him to the playoffs the next year. So that every quarterback's on that. Peyton Manning out for a year, goes to Denver, right situation, takes him to the Super Bowl, loses, comes back, has his worst season and wins it because he played who? The Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton. So I think Brady's in the same boat right here. This is what an experienced quarterback does. He goes into this division. He knows he has to beat people in the division. Look what Brady's done in that division. He's beat Miami. He's beat Buffalo. He's beat the Jets. You go 6-0 in that division every year. I'm hoping that's what he can do in the NFC South. As long as that first game in that schedule still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I hate the fact that the Bucks have to go play in New Orleans. I hate that first game of the season because that could be a great momentum, or that could be a smack in the mouth. That
Could
first
be the
game.
end of Tom Brady. for the season.
Right. Well, I'm just saying the fact that the fans, we don't know if they're going to be at the stadium. We don't know how that's going to play out. It could be a 44 to 45 shootout. It could be something like that. I mean, with Drew Brees and Brady going at it. I don't worry much about Atlanta because Brady's, that's the thing about the Falcons. He's never lost to the Falcons. So that's a lot of revenge for the Falcons to try to beat Brady, because I know that was probably the worst nightmare, seeing him come to that division or whatever. And you think about you just think about their defense. I talked about that earlier. Their defense got better. They drafted Antoine Winfield as a safety back. He's a playmaker in college or whatever for the Gophers last year. They've got the wide receiver for the Gophers, Tyler Johnson, there. Now, you're talking about spreading out more offensive, but defensively, Devin White, he's got a year under his belt. I thought he was the best linebacker besides the kid that went to the Cardinals out of Clemson, Isaiah Simmons. I think he's going to be special out there. But the Bucs defense only got 3 guys over 30 years old. Sue, he's 33. JPP's 31. Levante Davis, 30. Everybody else is in their 20s. Offensively, that whole offensive line, they're in their 20s. So basically, you still got a young team, but you got the best coach. I'll say a word that I hate to say, funnest. You got the funnest coach to play for in Bruce Arians. You know what I mean? There's no guy that I would rather play for, and Ramona knows that. He should be there with the Steelers. That's why he left and went to the Colts or whatever, and he did great with the Colts. He's trying to do the same thing in Tampa that he did with the Cardinals. He got Carson Palmer, ran his system, Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald, had a heck of a running back in there. They lost the Super Bowl. I won't even go there with you. I'm not even going to go with that. Little number 10 in the end zone, 2-step there.
Hey, I got proof on that one. Hey, time out. I got proof on that one. I finally convinced Andre when I showed him step by step in picture his toes touching the ground. So don't even go there with me. I bought a program just so I could do that with them pictures.
So if you ask me, Marcus, and you ask me, Ramona, I'm going to let you know that I think that the Bucs now are the favorite to win that division because of Drew Brees' comments and the disruption they have in that locker room. I think the Bucs overcame that and became the number 1 favorite now to win that division.
So is your offensive line going to give Tom Brady the protection that the offensive line in?
We didn't even talk about that. Tristan Wirfs, he fell to us. He fell all the way down to the Buccaneers. That left tackle guy did. So he's going to play right tackle. He's going to play right tackle. You got Donovan Smith. You still got the Ryan Jensen at center. You got Marpy. They got the same. That's the thing about, and Marcus can tell you this about the offensive line. You can tell me this about the Steelers. Once they get that offensive line set, you got 5 guys there. That's why Gurley did so well. He had that offensive line for those years, Whitworth and all those big guys. He ran the ball. Look at what Zeke's done. You got offensive legends there in Dallas that were just, then you had the retirement going on. You got the Steelers. One thing I was disappointed in your team, you didn't get anybody on the offensive line because those guys are old. That's what I worry about the Steelers, that offensive line. They're in their 30s. They're old. Is Big Ben going to get beat up?
They're not all in their 30s. And be honest with you, I'm going to tell you something. That offensive line, they play differently.
Right. They play differently, but
two rookie quarterbacks.
You don't have Le'Veon Bell do what he does. You didn't have James.
Yeah, what? Stop. We didn't have Le'Veon Bell. Listen, Linda. Listen, Linda. We have not had Le'Veon Bell for 2 years. So don't even go there with me with Le'Veon Bell. Sick of hearing the guy's name. He's not coming back to Pittsburgh. We don't want him back. Okay?
You sound like somebody who has some PTSD when it comes to certain players with the Steelers. Just putting that out.
Well, I'm telling you, everybody sit there and wants to toot Le'Veon Bell's horn. And I am a Steeler fan who watched him year after year hit one year, miss the next year, hit one year, miss the next, and then sit out didn't sit out because he didn't get his way. He didn't get his contract, even though his offensive line knew he was coming back. And then all of a sudden, man, oh, he ain't coming back. He's going to sit. Well, look what it got him. Where's he at? What's he doing? Nothing. So don't even go there with me. And no, I don't think that the Tampa Bay Bucks are going to be able to afford him the luxury that he has had with the New England Patriots on offense. I think that defenses are going to be just willing to just do whatever they got to do to get through that line to Tom Brady, because this is their time to have that revenge against the Tom Brady that kicked their ass when he was with the Patriots. Okay,
but you got to remember, Brady has something on his shoulders too. Belichick. Brady wants to prove that it's not a system quarterback, and he wants all that stuff to go away by doing what guys like Brett Favre did, what Joe Montana did. He wants that stuff to go away. We saw what happened when
Brett Favre left. He never was the same when he left New England.
I mean, you know, did a good job. I'm not gonna go there because.
But okay, I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'll leave it alone. Tom Brady beat everyone in his division because that was the worst division in the league.
So why would I say that I'm a hater? When I say that I'm a hater,
we ain't got that much time to prove that, Marcus. It's gonna be an overtime show. We ain't got that much time to prove that.
Okay, all right. So moving along, guys. I just want to real quick. Dre, you still there? Okay, I don't know if Dre's still there.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay, real quick. Tom Brady is either answer in Tampa Bay. Real quickly,
yes. Okay. In Daniel Bryan voice. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Who's gonna retire with the best career, Brady or Brees? Quickly, Ramona.
I was gonna say Brees.
He's already got 5 Super Bowl rings.
I was gonna say Brees, but it's Brady.
Okay. But
you say he gonna get 7, huh, Buck?
I'm gonna say Brady because he's gonna get 7 rings this year or next year. That's 25.
I hear you, Buck. Who you got, Joe? You got Marcus?
I mean, to me, it's a moot point already. It's over. 6-1. 6-1. Now, I will say this: Brees, he might end up throwing for more yards than throwing for more touchdowns in him. But like you know, me and you, we were talking off the air. Drew Brees doesn't have any MVPs. I don't give a damn how many 5,000-yard seasons that you have, and you ain't got no MVPs. Tom Brady's been a regular season MVP and a Super Bowl MVP. Case closed.
Samuel said Brady did for 1 year in Tampa, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
You got to think about baseball.
Really quickly, if Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, it's over, guys. It's over now. But there's no doubt. There's no doubt. All the people are saying it was all Belichick. Everybody who said he's a system quarterback. Everybody who was saying that he's not this and Joe Montana this. If he goes to Tampa Bay and wins a championship, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's over. So,
hey, Marcus, I just saw a question. Somebody posted a question in the comments. Who's going to finish with a better career, Dak Prescott or Carson Wentz?
This ain't that show on the NFC South.
Just for a record, a couple of weeks ago we covered the NFC East.
Yeah.
I encourage you to go back to that show. Go on the OnPoint network. Watch some of the last show, some of the past shows. I don't really have a lot of time to go into that Dak Prescott, but yeah, that's pretty much. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say that real quick.
I know. I appreciate that. I appreciate that because I didn't say Oklahoma. Go ahead.
Okay. So
and by the way, when we were talking about running backs earlier,
yes,
best running back in history.
Who's that?
Rocky Bleier.
Contract obligations met, Miss Di. I appreciate you. I got one last topic, guys. We got about 10 minutes left before we got to shut this down. We're gonna have look. Once again, there's no wrong
I was
answer.
hoping you'd forget this subject.
I don't like to do a whole bunch of theoreticals, but we're going to do a theoretical. And Torch, I need you in here for this one quickly, guys. We got about 7 minutes. Which player? You got the number 1 pick in the draft. All right, you're building your team, and you're a defensive-minded coach. You can draft any one of these guys on the screen here: Khalil Mack, Stephon Gilmore, T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald. In order from who you take first to 4, who you taking? And Torch, I'm going to start with you quickly, please. Torch, you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here. I'm sorry. It sounds like I'm on the radio, y'all. I'm here though. Which player would I draft first? Khalil Mack, T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, or Stephon Gilmore? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, it ain't Stephon Gilmore. Aaron Donald as a defensive tackle, man, to have so many stacks.
Yeah.
You know what? Because it's so difficult, I'm taking T.J. Watt.
You got to pick all 4. Keep going.
Did you just say T.J. Watt first?
That's what he said.
Here's why. I'm gonna tell you why I'm taking T.J. Watt. I'm taking T.J. Watt.
This is all your fault. Ignorant thinking.
Yes, I'm being the critical thinker right now.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm taking T.J. Watt because I guess I know what I'm getting from T.J. Watt. Like tomorrow, next season, you may not get 20 sacks from Aaron Donald with the Rams. Next season, Khalil Mack could deteriorate. I mean, there's folks already thinking that Khalil Mack's production is going down. Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore. First of all, Stephon Gilmore was a Buffalo Bill, so I'm very familiar with Stephon Gilmore.
5 more minutes, right?
5 minutes.
That's a done deal. T.J. Watt, I know what I'm getting from T.J. Watt, and I feel like T.J. Watt's potential could go through the roof. So yes, Ramona, I'm on your side. Black and yellow, lady. Black and yellow.
I appreciate that. One did my 4. I didn't take Watt first. I did take Aaron Donald first. I took T.J. Watt, Mack, and then Gilmore.
Okay, Buck.
Very simple. 6 years, 68 sacks. 6 years, 58.5 sacks. I just read off 2 Hall of Famers, Warren Sapp and John Randall. Aaron Donald, 6 years, 72 sacks, more tackles. Aaron Donald comes off the board first for me. And, of course, I'm going to go Khalil Mack. I'm going to go Stephon Gilmore. And I'm going to go T.J. Watt last because I like J.J. Watt better.
Okay.
I'm gonna agree with Buck. I agree with Buck.
I know you haven't done the other ones. I want to hear some ignorant thinking here real quick, Dennis.
No, honestly, I agree with Buck. I had mine the same way.
Okay, and I have mine the same way. Look, when you got a defensive tackle who's putting pressure on the quarterback, where do quarterbacks hate to be pressured from?
In front of their face. There's
a lot of good edge rushers. You tell me another defensive tackle that's getting you double-digit sacks. But it's Aaron Donald and Warren Sapp. That's it. So I'm taking Aaron Donald first. Khalil Mack, we've seen what he does. I think you're going to see him have another breakout season with having Robert Quinn on the other side of him. I think he bounced back this year. I'm always going to take a shot. T.J. Watt, I love T.J. Watt. I'm going to take the line.
Number 2 in stats last year. And where was Mack last year? What am I doing?
Once again, like I said,
one bad year, Ramona.
Who did T.J. Watt have on the other side of him last year? How many sacks did Bud Dupree have last year? How many sacks?
Not as many as he did. Not as many as TJ.
No, that's the point I'm trying to make, though. He's got a guy on the other.
TJ Watt was second in sacks, TJ
was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, and Stephon Gilmore was Defensive Player of the Year. So I'm taking him at 3, and I'm taking T.J. Watt last. But, I mean, look, once again, like I said, there's
You'll regret that when we play y'all this year. I'm gonna let TJ know personally.
I heard about your little story with you making your ex-husband walk. So I'm not doing that this year. I heard about that with the Super Bowl. We didn't heard that story. I'm not. Yeah, I like not walking.
2-minute warning.
I like getting a nice ride. But guys, we're about to wrap this up. First off, pardon shot, Buck. Any last words for us?
I'd like to thank Ramona for bringing up Jameis Winston so damn much that I had to break out my Budweiser because it just makes me go into depression state thinking about all those turnovers. And I appreciate you, Marcus, in the Alphabet Show.
I'm going to send you a case of Budweiser just because you're going to go through that same thing at the end of the season.
Anyway.
Drake, quick last comments. Dre, you there?
Listen, y'all know what it is. The fire starter is in the building. I want to thank everybody for allowing me the platform right here on the Alphabets football talk show with two of my favorite people in the world. Straight up. Oh, I'm sorry, 3, because Buck Flair. I've been knowing Buck Flair for a long time too. So 3, obviously.
Wait, hold on.
I want to.
So that means I'm not one of your favorite people. So wait, hold on. I know you just throw me under the bus like that. Wait, hold on.
Oh! You caught that? Fly, Eagles, fly! Fly, Eagles, fly! No, I'm just messing. I want to thank everybody for allowing me the platform. Even Dennis too. Gotta love unity and community, and that's my thoughts on it. Let's keep the positivity going. Come on.
Ignorant. Give me an ignorant thought on the way out, Dennis. I need an ignorant thought real quick.
I would like to thank all the viewers who tuned in to watch the show, because without you guys, we wouldn't have anybody to do the show for. Okay, just letting you know, we appreciate y'all showing up each and every day that we have shows, and thank you so much, and keep coming back.
Marcus, your last thought.
First off, before I get to this, Ronald Enix, one of our family members, one of the Rise Up family members, we wish you a speedy recovery. He's
I can't do that.
one of my guy who does the Bill show on Sunday morning with Andre the Torch Robinson. But I want to give a special shout out to Juan Carlos Medrano from my hometown in Clovis, New Mexico. He passed away a fatal car accident this past week, and I just want you to know this is going to be missed. Shout out to the family, and I just wanted to say rest in peace, and you're going to be missed. And that's it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you guys. Be safe out there. Please practice social distancing, whatever your thoughts may be. If you're not doing it for yourself, do it for somebody else. We appreciate you. The Rise Up family. We all about unity and community. Thank you for Delindra, CEO of OnPoint Network. Thank you so much for your support. OnPoint Network. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good night.